Hey house guests, welcome to today's bbcan 9 updates and spoilers. Our house guests of the day are Connor Bourne and John Preeb. Thank you both so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Woo! So, when we left off yesterday, the feeds were down for a few hours, and I thought it was for the power veto ceremony because that was like up on the screens, but that wasn't until later. So I don't know what this other feeds outage was. It could have been like a sponsored activity. I don't know. But what we do know is that Roe won the power veto. We've known that for a while now. And he's not planning on using it. He already discussed with Austin and Brayden. He says, like, one of you's going no matter what. You know, if I use the POV or not, they're still going to vote the other one out. So I don't want to damage my game by using it. Do you guys think he's making a mistake? Because I think he's making a mistake. He's got this new deal going with the throuple, but the throuple's already talking about getting rid of him as soon as next week because he's planting too many seeds with Beth, and they don't like that. So yeah, I think Roe is really playing himself at this point, but Austin is the target this week. Tara and Tina were already considering trying to flip the vote to keep Austin because they feel like Austin would remain a bigger target than Brayden for next week. And they're afraid that once Austin goes, they're going to be split up next. But if Austin stays, she'll be a big shield for them. But Kiefer is shutting this flip down again. He can't stand Austin. He does not want her in the jury house. Okay. So it's not gonna happen. They wouldn't be able to do the flip without Kiefer unless they were to get the throuple on board, which they're not. So when the feeds come back, it appears that word has traveled around the house that Tina and Tara are trying to flip this vote. So who do you think told them? Do you think it was Kiefer? Do you think it was Roe? I mean, who told on them? Sorry. Kiefer? Roe? Tara? Did Tara tell on herself? We'll get there. So, we've got the throuple, Beth, Jed, and Ty all chatting outside, and yeah, it sounds like Tina and Tara ratted themselves out about this vote flip because they proposed the flip to Jed and Beth and Victoria, and Victoria said, no freaking way. Austin needs to go this week. And apparently Tara was like taken aback by Victoria's reaction. And Tina and Tara are already suspicious of Victoria and thinking she's playing both sides. So this situation did not help. So the throuple realizes that Tina and Tara want Austin to stay because, again, she would be a shield for them. Plus, Austin is way less likely to try and work with the throuple than Brayden is. So Beth says if Austin stays, we're basically letting the other side form an alliance. So she's got to go. They're all in agreement that Austin has to go this week. So then the throuple throws around the idea of maybe setting Tina and Tara up to be on the wrong side of the vote this week. Because then, you know, they're going to be like the new outsiders. They probably won't actually try to set them up like that because they don't think that Keith would go for it. But that has been thrown out there. They also discuss what Roe was saying to Beth about her being expendable to Jen and Ty. And Beth admits it did spook her. She was kind of questioning, like, am I really effing up here by working so closely with this bromance? Like, what am I doing? But the guys, again, are reassuring her that's not the case. You're not expendable to us. Like, we're all going to the final 3 together. I could see them taking her to the final 3, but I don't think they would take her to the final 2, right? Probably not. But they all agree because of this situation, Roe has to go soon. But I feel like Beth does not want to get rid of him right away. I feel like her next target is Tara because she still wants to, like, use Roe. And I'm kind of wondering if she's keeping Roe around because she knows he would probably take a shot at the guys, and maybe she's like, oh no, don't do that. But really like, yeah, this is good for my game if you take one of them out. That's what I feel like, but I don't know if that's for sure. But they all seem to agree if one of them wins HOH next week, they would want Ro and Tara up on the block together. So then, they talk about the final 6, and ideally they would like it to be the 3 of them plus 3 people, not only that they can beat, but that wouldn't want to work together and, like, form something against them. So they're like, okay, Victoria and Kiefer, they've been soldiers for us. They're doing all of our dirty work, so it'd be really hard for us to take them out. However, they don't think they're going to be able to beat Victoria in the end. She's building up quite a resume for herself already. She's likable. So they're like, probably not a good option to take to the end. And they agree, like, if Victoria's on the block at any point, we might have to just vote her out because we got to take that chance when we can get it. Also, they don't realize Victoria and Kiefer have a final 2 deal, so if you want people that aren't working together, that ain't it. Okay, then they were talking about, you know, it would be good to go with Tina and Brayden because they think both of them would be really easy to beat. They haven't really shown up in competitions yet. I mean, Brayden's done all right, but he hasn't won anything yet. But yeah, that's what they're thinking. And then they are literally like laughing about how everyone is so focused on splitting up duos at this point, but no one is targeting their trio. I know, right? They feel like they're so safe at this point, and like they don't even really need to win HOH next week. And it might be bad for them to win HOH next week because they have so many deals going on with people. They don't want to have to show their cards and pick a side. So they're thinking, like, maybe we don't even really, like, try that hard for this next HOH. Oh my god, can you imagine? Because there are people, like, a bunch of people who would target the throuple, but they haven't won HOH yet. Tina, Tara, Brayden, Ro, they've all talked about targeting the throuple, specifically putting up Jed and Ty together. I feel like you have to put them up together, right? Because if not, one could win the veto and save the other. So, anyway, Brayden and Ro were chatting in the Defender bedroom, and they suspect that Victoria is playing both sides. Yes. I mean, who isn't playing both sides at this point, for real? But Brayden says, moving forward, I don't think we're quite effed yet. I think it could still be okay for us. He says Austin knows that she's most likely going this week, and she was giving him some advice moving forward. And she said to Brayden, you and Ro need to keep playing the part right now. Right now. With the other side. At least until one of you wins the HOH, and then you can make a move. So they agree. If they win HOH, they're going to put up Ty and Jed. Oh, dang. So Brayden says, I only have you after Austin goes. So, like, we got to make this work. All right. So Ro hopes that they'll still be able to work with Tina and Tara as well. And, you know, maybe Tina and Tara could pull in Kiefer. Not with the throuple still in the house. But Brayden thinks that Kiefer will probably just float to the numbers. Yeah, I could see that. For sure. But they wonder, what would Victoria do if she won HOH? They are some of the only people in the house right now that are not fully convinced that Victoria is the HOH this week, which she is. They still think, oh, it's like Ty or something. It's Victoria! So they're wondering, oh, if Victoria won, would she put up Ty and Jed? Clearly, we now know, no, she would not. But they hope that she's going to end up on the right side, aka their side. And Ro says we got to keep working on Beth. Make sure she knows that she won't beat Ty and Jed in the end. Try and break that up. Good luck. Okay. So then Ty and Victoria were chatting in the Expedia room, and they are shook about Tara trying to flip the vote already. So early in the week, even, for Austin to stay. And they're like, it's only Sunday. But Victoria is now saying that Tara has to go next week. Does she really want that? Or is she just trying to make sure that Tara is going to be a target in front of her? Because earlier in the day, she had a discussion with Kiefer about their plans for like the final 6 or 7 or whatever. And they were talking about how they want to get together with Tina and Tara to go up against the throuple. But this was also before all of the vote flip talk came up. So, and you know how Victoria feels about vote flips, especially on her HOH. So it's kind of hard to tell at this point if she wants to get rid of Tara or work with her. But well, I guess we'll find out, right? We'll see what happens. So then the feeds finally went down for the power veto ceremony. And it's so weird to have the ceremony on a Sunday night. I don't know why they keep changing this up all of a sudden, but whatever. So as expected, Roe did not use the POV, which means that Austin and Brayden are still up on the block. All right. So later, Ty and Beth had a game chat, and it becomes clear that Jed must be the brains of that operation. I mean, they weren't talking all crazy, but, like, some of the stuff they were coming up with, I was just like, what? So the first part of their plan makes sense. I think it's a little late for this, but it makes sense. So Beth says they really need to work on making sure that people don't see them as a trio. I think people see it. They're just, like, not doing anything about it for some reason. So Beth is saying you guys need to hang out more with Victoria, because if people think that you're in a tight trio with Victoria, then if they want to put up Ty and Jed and one of them comes down with a veto, then hopefully the HOH would put up Victoria as the replacement instead of Beth. So Beth says this can also be our way to take out Victoria without any blood on our hands, because we'll just get rid of her then. So Ty says, don't worry, I've already been working on it. He's telling people when they ask about his relationship with Beth or whatever, he's telling them, don't confuse game relationships with personal ones. Come on! How many times have we actually seen, like, a showmance not working together in the game? How often does that actually happen? I mean, I'm sure it does, but, like, how often? So, yeah. More about their plan. Beth is planning on playing into the whole, like, expendable thing with Roe, which we know he's going to be trying to work more, so it's going to be funny to see them both, like, doing the most about that. But she's also going to plant seeds with everybody that, like, she knows she needs to break up the guys and they're not going to take her to the end. So, yeah, they also want to focus on pulling in Brayden, tell him how Tina and Tara were trying to flip the vote against him. And Beth did have this conversation later with Brayden, and I just feel like she's so obvious in what she's trying to do. I don't know. You know what I also realized, too? There's something about Beth. She reminds me, I don't know if it's just the way that she speaks or, like, what she's saying, but have you guys seen the movie Marriage Story on Netflix with Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson? Beth reminds me of Laura Dern's character. She plays one of the divorce lawyers, and yeah. Beth reminds me of her. But anyway, Beth's plan, if she wins HOH, would be to gather everybody up besides Jed and Ty, and she's gonna, like, act like she wants to backdoor Jed, her showmance. Come on. And she's gonna ask people to volunteer to be pawns for her to carry out this plan. It just seems ridiculous to me. Like, who's actually gonna believe that? But then again, how has nobody gone after this throuple yet? Right? So you never know. But Ty was saying if he wins HOH, he would put up Roe and Tara. But again, they're discussing how they feel like they don't really need to win HOH yet. They're feeling a little too comfy at this point. I don't know. So then Ty and Jed discussed Beth's plan later for them to be seen more with Victoria. And Jed takes it a step further. He says, you know, if Victoria's up on the block next week and one of us wins the power veto, we should use it on her. So it's going to be like this really obvious thing to people. Like, look, we're so tight with Victoria that we're actually using the POV on her. Ty really liked that. They also decide they're going to set up a fake alliance with Victoria called Ghost Peppers. We're going to get to that. So this morning, Jed tells Victoria about the ghost peppers, and she is super hyped up. She's so excited. She's talking to the cameras after Jed leaves the room, and she's like, my plan is working. They came to me with an alliance name. She's always looking for those alliance names, right? She says, I was so worried yesterday that I made the wrong decision. I think she did. She says, now I feel like they're really going to work with me. Final four, baby. So I was a little bit confused about this because I was under the impression that this Ghost Peppers alliance was just supposed to be the three of them, but it seems like Beth is included in that. So that kind of confused me, but I guess, I don't know. I guess that was just a misunderstanding on my part. I don't know what you guys think about that, but yeah, she just could not stop celebrating, couldn't stop saying the name, saying she loves it. They are playing her so hard. She doesn't even realize that they're just trying to set her up to take the fall if they end up on the block. Oh, it's so disappointing. So I don't know where this alliance ranks compared to like her thing with Kiefer, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. So then Beth and Austin were chatting in the Expedia room today, and ooh, it got a little bit heated. I mean, there wasn't any yelling or anything. It was very calm, but they weren't really holding back. So Beth is trying to clear the air here because she's done Austin dirty, right? So Austin was like, you kind of showed me week 2 that you were capable of turning on me. Remember when Beth was in hot water because she was part of that whole thing to potentially flip the vote and save Josh, and Austin was pissed about that. And Austin says, I fully expected that to happen again. Ooh. So she says, I was so ready to take the shot at the boys for you because I know that like you wouldn't have been able to do that. And Beth is like, well, I didn't end up turning on you on during week 2, and she says, later I heard that you were throwing my name out there and the guys' names out there, and Austin's like, no, I wasn't. So Austin feels like Beth has been faking it with her and Brayden, especially this week, and Beth denies that, but this is all stemming from earlier in the week. Austin had proposed an alliance of 6 with herself, the throuple, Brayden, and Ro. Now, remember when they were, like, in the ball pit, and Austin was saying, oh, all of us in this room need to stick together because we're, like, the biggest targets right now, and if one of us goes, then, like, the other ones are going to become targets, too. Like, they're the next target, so, like, we all got to keep each other safe. And part of that plan was, like, okay, Ro uses the power veto, and then we vote out whoever the replacement nominee would be. You know, we can have our group of 6. Clearly, that did not happen. So Austin's like, what the hell? Like, you kept telling me I'm good. Like, we were going to do this thing, and then it didn't happen. So Beth is saying, oh, it's on Ro that he didn't use the power veto. But it's kind of contradicting some other things that Austin has heard. Like, when Beth was telling Brayden, no matter what, like, one of you guys is going to go anyway, even if the veto is used. Things like that, and yeah, people saying, like, oh, Ro wanted to use the veto, but he didn't have the support from these other people. So, clearly, Austin sees what's going on here with Beth. But moving forward, Austin says she doesn't want to campaign against Brayden. She's not going to do it. Are we going to have another week of no campaigning? Are we really? But she says, I want to be here, and, you know, I'm good at competitions, I've done well, so that can be an asset. So, think about it. So then to wrap things up here, Beth says, we've both been misled, and we've both been fed lies, so that we would go after each other, or whatever. So, she says, people are trying to pin me, Jed, and Ty as the bad guys here, and Austin's like, well, you guys are going to be the targets once me and Brayden are split up. There would have been a way to avoid this, but didn't happen. So the conversation ended kind of abruptly because Beth was like, I need to go eat. They both said, like, I love you. And that was that. All right, so then the feeds have been down now for like 5.5+ hours. What's going on here? I don't know if this is like a sponsor thing, if they're doing some sort of a task, if there is a twist. A lot of people online have been speculating that maybe nobody's going to go home on Thursday because Thursday just so happens to be April Fool's Day. I don't know if that's actually a thing or not, like if it's actually going to happen, but, you know, people are talking about it. Maybe it's a possibility. Are the feeds down for fun? I don't know, but we've got 3 days left until the eviction. We'll see what happens. So let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments, and until next time, much love.